One will be about lightning vouchers and merchant onboarding. Those are two new concepts we're kind of working on the Raspberry Blitz, and they're working on the with the Bits software. They're target to very focus, so something you can do with your Raspberry Blitz in your local community. But one important part to get it ready, to set it up correctly and to make it available to the outside for your local community is to set it up behind IP2Tor, the bits behind IP2Tor. And to give you more details on this and how to do this with the Raspberry Blitz, I hand over to Frankie that did a lot of work on this, and happy to hear the details to get us set up with IP2Tor. And then I will get into the details of the vouchers and the merchant onboarding.
Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm Frankie. I've been on the project for almost 2 years now, I think already, contributing just as we were heard in the beginning, leveling up from making changes to FAQ scripts or fixing typos to actually adding scripts and new functionality. It was a journey, an interesting one. Yes, this section now will be kind of about the topic, how can I actually use my Raspberry Blitz that I have. I think that's a very important part, also from a user's perspective, that there are really use cases where you can apply this. And looking at the Raspberry Blitz project, we kind of see at least 3 common cases where you actually kind of want to interact with it without actually touching it. So one important point is, of course, remote control. So there are interfaces like the REST API and the gRPC API that's used by most people through apps. So you could have the Zap wallet or the Zeus wallet on your mobile phone, and you'd want to remote control your Raspberry Blitz, or you are using one of the browser-based solutions like RTL or ThunderHub. So RTL, remote control, one of the use cases. Another use case can be if you're kind of a merchant and you want to sell things. BTC Pay is also listed here on the slide, is a pretty common option to sell goods, for example, digital or physical. And the last thing we see is kind of apps like, for example, Bits, which will be the focus of this part here, where you kind of even have additional next layer applications, like where you can actually host account systems based on Lightning. And all 3 of these things have in common that, well, where do you host or have set up your Raspberry Blitz? Usually, well, you have it at home in your living room or in your basement, or maybe you have it in your store or in a small office. And in all those situations, we kind of identified the problem that, well, how can people reach the node, right? So that's pretty a hard thing. And even today, with things like firewall setup, routers, NATs, and other topics that kind of prevent you from hosting services at your home. And also a very important part for us as the Raspberry Blitz development team is that we really want to kind of hold highly the topic of the aspect of privacy. So if you host your Lightning node at home and your Bitcoin node at home and using it not over Tor, then you might be exposing information or linking coins to your IP address that you get at home from your internet service provider, which usually actually don't want to do. So for us, going with Tor was there's been one of the goals since quite some time now, and we are, I think, almost there. Correct me if I'm wrong later on, Ruzel, but basically this is something that we had in mind quite a long time. And now the question is, what is IP2Tor? When would I need IP2Tor? Well, from our perspective, not every time when somebody wants to interact with you, for example, you have a store, somebody comes in and wants to buy something, not in every case they will have a Tor browser on their phone. Almost never, I guess. So in some situations, it actually really makes sense that we have something that bridges between the normal kind of internet and the services that we are providing on the Raspberry Blitz. And this, I think, was kind of the basic idea for IP2Tor. And the IP2Tor is useful, but if you're kind of transacting over a website and you maybe want to sell something or buy something, then, well, usually you have to look out for the HTTPS log symbol, right? Otherwise, you could be kind of being intercepted or betrayed or cheated on in some way. So having valid certificates is also the last missing piece that we discovered in our approach to solve this problem. And well, it's solved too. So basically, in the next 6 slides, I will show the steps that we implemented on the Raspberry Blitz to get you from the end, from the start to the end. Can you switch back? Sorry, just want to get the story complete. Basically, in this nice drawing here, you see that, well, at home you have, for example, Allen bits running on your Raspberry Blitz. You have, you don't really care about the router and everything about this because you're using Tor. And on the right-hand side, you have users that are either on a mobile phone, on a tablet, or on a POS device, an embedded device. And all they do is they open a normal HTTPS domain name port connection. And this actually lets them end up on the Raspberry Blitz node you have at your home. Some important things to keep in mind is, of course, encryption is mandatory. So because the first part between the browser or the mobile phone and the IP2 Tor server, this goes over the normal internet. That's one reason why we require HTTPS, and also why the Let's Encrypt certificate is essential. That's the quick rundown. And I think now we can actually step into, well, how did we implement this and how does it look from a user perspective? Next slide, please. Okay. Yeah, Allen bits software is also open source, available on GitHub. One of the extension, the bonus apps that we have on Raspberry Blitz. So basically, what you do is you set up your Raspberry Blitz with the current version, 1.6. You have Tor enabled. You have at least some funds on there, and you have at least one channel. It would be good to have some inbound liquidity, but it's not essential for this step. And then you just go to the menu, services, and install Allen bits. This will take a little time to get all the dependency installed, but then it will be set up and it will finish with this dialog that you see in the left corner, where you kind of have the IP address in your local network with port 5001, where with HTTPS, you can already go ahead and test whether this is working. You will, at this point, get a certificate warning because, well, in default, we just use the certificates that's already on the Raspberry Blitz. That's the certificate LND generates. And yeah, but printing the fingerprint here actually makes you able to check whether you're actually connecting to the right device and not being intercepted there already. As we mentioned, we also enable Tor. So in this step, you could also already check the Tor address without HTTPS, just a normal Tor connection directly from a Tor browser to a Tor hidden service. That would be safe too. Next step. So now we have the service running. How can we get access to the service also for people who don't really want to deal with Tor or can't deal with Tor? So the sort of step here is that we have introduced a new, completely new menu item that's called subscribe on the Raspberry Blitz menu, where you can add or order a job for IP to Tor bridges. There is the shop, and there is a menu where you just select I need a new Tor bridge, and you can also select from predefined options. For example, you might want to expose the REST API or the RPC API, or in this case, the Allen bits software. Yeah, you just go ahead and order the subscription. You have a selection where you can say there might be more than one servers available. It might, from my perspective, make sense that you choose a server that's in your regional location. For example, if you're in Europe, it might make sense to get a server in Europe. If you're in Asia, something in Asia. And also we have also set up a server that's hosting in North America. Did I miss anything, Christian? If you can just pitch in if I'm missing anything important.
No, but this is the way to get to this. And the thing I think a little bit interesting would be to see what details are on the deal.
Yeah, sure. The concept that actually behind this Tor bridges is that, well, somebody has to do something for you. And we came up with this concept of the subscription, which actually means you're paying a little bit for this. In this scenario, we have a num-tor1, that's the server name, which actually stands for North America, Toronto. It's coincidence. That's basically the location of this server that's running these bridges. And you can buy for 24 hours at one of these bridges. It will cost you 48 sats for the first sign up. And then if you just let it renew automatically, each extension for another 24 hours will just cost you 40 sats, so a little bit cheaper. The IP address 172, that's the IP address that will be important later on, or which will be used later on. That's just basically the IP on the public IPv4 network of this host. And the LN bits Tor address that's listed here for M3 and so on, that's automatically retrieved on Raspberry Blitz. You actually don't have to paste this in here. This will, yeah, because it's running on a Raspberry Blitz, it knows what the address is, so this will be taken care of for you. Yeah, so the next step is you hit agree, and then the Lightning invoice is created and also paid by your node. So basically, if you agree here, you actually confirm a Lightning transaction over a payment channel that you already have open. Okay, next slide. Okay, yes, so basically that hopefully should work. And you can look this up in the LMBits main menu item. Then you should have a new line that was added here with the data you need to access via the IP2TOR bridge you just purchased. Same issue with the certificate here. So basically that's a little bit of a downside now. If you connect to this with a regular browser, then you will get a warning again, the same warning as with the local LAN connection with your local IP here just over the internet and over the IP2TOR bridge. Still, you have this warning, and this warning is even a problem with sometimes, for example, on Android, there is the problem that certain functionality might not be allowed if it's not a secure connection. For example, we had reports that scanning with a camera might not work if you have a non-trusted connection. And so that's the next problem that we had to solve. And there's already a hint on the slide here that on the main menu, we also have subscriptions for Let's Encrypt. If you are not familiar with it, Let's Encrypt is a open and free of charge certificate authority that gives you HTTPS certificates. And yeah, that can make sure that your connections are secure. Yeah, on the menu, you select the Let's Encrypt service, and we decided to bundle or integrate at first one. I think we have another one on the list to do, but basically we decided that going with DuckDNS, or one of the dynamic DNS providers, there are many different like this. DNS.org was one, and but several other ones. The reason why we chose to integrate DuckDNS is that they support a special feature that we need for Let's Encrypt. That's the DNS AP validation of the certificates. That's one important detail here. But basically what you have to do as a Raspberry Blitz user, you have to go to DuckDNS, sign up and get an API key. Decide which name you want to have. In this case here we have test bits, and basically that's it already. You set up an account, take the token, set up the name, and then you're already done with this part, because this data is needed in the next steps. I think you went back here. At some point, I think you enter the data. Might miss the screenshot here, but basically what happens here is that the test bits duckdns.org dynamic DNS name is now pointing to the IP address of this IP2TOR server in Toronto. And you will have received a valid HTTPS certificate from Let's Encrypt for the name of testbits.duckdns.org. And if you now open your browser, either on your desktop or on your mobile phone, this will be recognized as a valid certificate for this host, and everything will be fine. You have a green lock, and yeah, actually, it's working. And basically, you just have to keep in mind you're accessing from your browser. You're going to the IP2 bridge server, which puts your traffic into the Tor network where it ends up on your Raspberry Blitz. And yeah, that's the full picture. And basically here we also have a screenshot, testbits.dns.org with the special port that you got assigned. This bar is not green, but basically in other browsers it is. It's a closed lock. And here you have the LNBits home screen for the main application that's being served, and it is accessible for anybody. Okay.
Perfect. So this is exactly what we need. So now we have a service, we have LNBits running on our Raspberry Blitz, securely behind Tor. We're using the IP to Tor bridge, and with that service now, everybody in our local community can just call like every other website that would be out there on the internet, and without any security warnings, now reach our service. So next question is. Yeah,
sure. I have a closing slide, I think, before I hand over to you, right?
Sure. Sorry.
So just one thing to keep in mind here. Basically, there are 3 external services, 4 if you count DNS, that are needed here, right? So you have IP to Tor, you have DuckDNS, or maybe one of the other services, and Let's Encrypt. You just need to be aware of this. Those are external services. DuckDNS, of course, exists already. Let's Encrypt also exists. IP to Tor did not exist. That's something we invented and implemented. And basically, if you have problems with any of the IP to Tor subscriptions that are sold and hosted on the default Raspberry Blitz configuration, please open your issues on the main Raspberry Blitz project. But if you're interested in the IP to Tor software that's running on the backends, that's what we newly created. There is the link on this slide to my repo where I'm hosting this package. I have a small graphic on the right-hand side where you already see I decided to implement this in Django. There is a Redis queue, and there are workers, and there's a database. If you're familiar with any of that and are interested, then just maybe go to that URL and look at it, or maybe send me a pull request for any improvements that you would see for this topic. Okay, thanks.
Cool. And just to highlight, because as Frankie mentioned, there's 3 kind of services now involved into doing this. There's the IP to Tor, but the good thing is you just was contacting us through Tor, telling us a Tor address you want to have forwarded things to, so we don't know who's behind that. And then you pay with Lightning the subscriptions. So this is also a non-paying of a service. So the IP to Tor service is not really knowing what who's the customer. It just gets paid and delivers the service. At least that's we try to make sure of this. With the DuckDNS, for example, you need to create an account there. Or otherwise you need another account to get it there. So you can use a GitHub account, a Twitter account, a Google account. So you should maybe, if you're non-aware, you should use the Tor browser to go to this page and then maybe use a fake or a second Google account, whatever, like you make sure that there's no identity attached to it to get an account there on DuckDNS. But then normally you should also not have problems there from the anonymity side. And the last thing was the Let's Encrypt. This is a free service, and we can, when the Raspberry Blitz is kind of getting the certificate, it does it behind Tor. So it tells us, here's our DuckDNS, here, please verify this, and this is happening behind Tor, or at least, oh, this is a good question. No, this is the last thing we want to add on the 1.7. There could be on this process, there could be still a ClearNet connection. So I don't at the moment get too wild, but this is on our to-do list to also make sure that the ECMI script that is doing the communication with the Let's Encrypt for the DuckDNS is also then going over Tor. But this is on our list. So in the end, this process should cover you on all those 3 services with at least a good enough security there. And we're very happy if you have any improvements there to get to us and make this even more known. Okay. Thank you, Frankie. So we are now can talk about the services. What can we now do? This was our technical infrastructure setup to offer now a service to a local community. And there are two kind of concepts we want to introduce to you, or at least show you a little bit more in detail, that we are working on. They're very fresh, so very welcome to get your input here and to improve all of this. It's not perfect yet, but I think we are coming to a point where we can start to experiment with this in our local communities. Maybe even start with our friends, and then maybe even go further there. So the first concept is the lightning vouchers. The idea is there to give away Satoshis to people. It's a kind of local onboarding for users to give them their first experience with Satoshi in a very, very easy, low barrier way. And then there's the second action you can do is the cash in the bag. That's the idea, to really have a low barrier local onboarding for local merchants with a very, then this is all the stuff you can do when you run a Raspberry Blitz. It's not much more you need to do, or you have almost everything ready. If you set up the IP2 you're ready to go. So first concept, the lightning vouchers. It's a bit like Bitcoin paper wallets, but this time with Satoshis on Lightning. So if you remember, it was giving people Bitcoin paper vouchers, paper wallets was a very, very easy way to get people onboarding. You gift them to friends, or even at some events, you were able to give people some Satoshis. But of course, today, fee and block space, it's not that easy anymore. On the fee side and all of this. So, but now we have, and giveaway Satoshi was even back then not possible. But now with Lightning, we can transfer Satoshis here. And it would be great if we can revive this culture of spreading some Satoshis around in our communities to give people this first kind of ownership, the first kind of idea, and to experience what they can do with some Satoshis, and spending them on the Lightning Network and get an experience for that. So this is really the goal here, onboarding and education. And this is the good thing is, if you have such a voucher but with a QR code on there, there are two ways to kind of use those. The first one is that you scan it with because this is an LN URL QR code over here. The first way is to scan it with a mobile wallet that is able LN URL capable, and then it will directly just kind of get those those Satoshis that are in this voucher from your Raspberry Blitz and transfer it with a Lightning transaction into their custody. So this is really great for really transferring it in the ownership of at least of the wallet or of the customer. We can talk later about that. But there's some little bits of downside. The wallet needs to be installed. This can be a little bit lengthy process. There's also confusion which wallet to choose, maybe, and maybe even this mobile wallet is not supporting LN URL. Not all of them are doing it right now, but more and more. That's at least a good thing. And there's also the question about inbound liquidity. So if you have a custodial wallet and non-custodial wallet, do you already have the inbound liquidity quickie? So quick that you can really just take the voucher, install the app, and then just get it. It's good. I think this is good for getting people starting in staking sets and giving them their first kind of Satoshis with this vouchers, so they take a little bit more time and experience it. And even this is a good setup for meetups where you sit a little bit longer with the people and can explain it, maybe how to install a wallet and on all those things. So this way this is one way to use the voucher. The second way to use the voucher, and this is more like for the instant spending, for the instant trying it out, is to scan it with your normal camera app. So for example, if I look at my Samsung S9 I have, if I just open the normal camera app and I point it to a QR code, and there's a URL in this HTTPS URL in this QR code, which is in here, then it will offer me to open this in my local browser. So, and then it will open up this HTTPS URL, which is served from my Raspberry Blitz, which is from my LN Blitz, and it will give me an instant account. So it will create the kind of a browser wallet for this allowance I got here on this voucher. And there's definitely, and I have it really like a small temporary wallet there, and there's even a send button, and I can then the camera opens off the smartphone, and I can just scan some other invoice. Maybe we had it at a test setup with the beer tap, so people just get those paper vouchers, scan this, open this temp wallet, and then directly spend the satoshis from the temp wallet to this beer tap, and they instant gratification. Nice, this is Lightning. Now I get it a little bit. I can see this is Lightning fast and it delivers me something. So there's these two ways you can experience. One is the saving side, that's better done with transferring into a mobile wallet, and the second is the instant spending side. But, and this is a little bit the point here, this is still an instant wallet, and people lose it, of course, fast, and there's all this other kind of problems in there. But for the fast spending side, those are the kind of two experiences you can make able with those vouchers. Okay, so let's see, creating vouchers. So I want to walk you through the steps how to create those vouchers. So if you want to follow this on your own, first of all, you need to make sure that you really call the LN bits over the IP2Tor and the Let's Encrypt duck.dns domain that we set up before. You can find this, again, you can find this address if you set it up always in the main menu. You get to LN bits and it shows you, and you just can copy it and have it in a browser. And this is then what you call. So you get your starting page of the LN bits. First thing to do is, now we want to create vouchers. We create a kind of sub account here on our LND wallet with LN bits, and we can call it voucher wallet. So that's okay. And we click add new wallet. Once you are on the next page, maybe remember to bookmark this page. This is always good to because again, those are all those instant kind of wallets, and it's to keep track of them and to be maybe call them later on again. It's good to have those backmarked, those created wallets. So keep that in mind. So next step is to, this is now how this temp wallet looks like. You can see there's 0 sets on here. And now we want to prepare this sub account to create vouchers from. So this is the wallet we need to fund with the Satoshis we want to give away. There's a little bit of downside at the moment. Even maybe we have Satoshis on our main LND account, but we want to get Satoshis in our LN bits account here. There is at the moment not a direct way in LN bits to say just, oh, come on, just put from our main wallet now into this SAP account 100 Satoshis. So what you need to do is to send from an external wallet. Maybe you have on your mobile phone, you can simply use a wallet like wallet of Satoshi there. You send from your main account to there some Satoshis, and then you send them back to this LN bits wallet. It's hoped this will get easier in the future, but it works. So what you do is, like, you go here, receive, you say I need 200 Satoshis in here under what fund vouchers, which is the funding for the vouchers, create invoice, and you pay then with this external wallet, this temporary wallet. Okay, so now this is funded. This is good. Always think about, make sure that your Raspberry Blitz has enough inbound liquidity and all this stuff, so that the basic infrastructure, Lightning infrastructure, is ready for people trying stuff out. Then the next thing to do, you're still on your same page. You're here on your LN bits, on your wallet you created and you now have funded, and you find always here this manage extensions point. And you go there and you see all the extensions that LN bits, plugins that LN bits has available for you. And the one that we need is the LNUL V for withdrawal. So, and you click one here, enable, then this enable turns into an open. You click on open, and then you get into the screen for the LNUL V extension or plugin for LN bits. So what do you see here? You see, here's a button, quick vouchers. This is very new. So maybe if you just have installed 1.6 and you have LN bits already, you maybe don't see this. This is very new. I will talk you in the end about it, how to get the latest version. But this now is a new addition here. There's a quick vouchers button. You just click this and you get this little dialog, and it asks you for 3 things. The first one is you have to choose here the wallet that we funded. This is normally it's just the only one in there with the 100 Satoshi. You just selected there. Then you say withdraw the amount, how much Satoshis should be on every voucher. You just maybe 10 Satoshis, and we want to have 10 vouchers. So of course, make sure this is not exceeding the Satoshis that you have on funded, but this is in our range. So we say, okay, create vouchers. Then we are still then on the plugin. So what we see then on the plugin behind our buttons here is now a new entry here. This is the vouchers we created, or the LNUL codes we created. And to take a look at them, we use this little eye symbol, and this opens this dialog. And on this dialog, now you can't see it because there's something before it, but there's a little printer symbol. And because this is what we want to do, we want to print those codes out, right? So this vouchers out. So here it is. Yeah, so I press this printer button over there. And then it opens a new tab. And in this tab now you can see there are my voucher codes, and already in a way that I can see that are placed on a sheet. And what I do now is I go to my print function of my browser and I print those vouchers out. Because the idea is that you maybe want to stick them on something more complex, so we'll show you. There's the idea to maybe print them directly on some sticker paper. So for example, there are also on Amazon, you get those sticker papers, just one big sticker, and you put it in your printer and you print the vouchers on there. And after that, you cut them out and have small little voucher stickers. Okay, so next step over here then is, again, like you cut it out, you have those little voucher stickers. And of course, if you just give some people those QR codes, they may be a little bit confused. What is this? So you have to put a little bit more information around it. And here's the idea that you can have different, depends on where you now want to spread them. It can make sense to put them on different things. You can have them on small cards that just say, here are your free Satoshis, ask me about it or something. So scan with your phone. And you just then stick those QR codes on those on those small cards, and you can give them away at meetups very quickly. You can have them always in your pocket and give you away, and it's a good conversation starter. And for new people at the meetup, it's always great for something like that. Maybe you have an event or something where you want just people walking by to give them quickly something. So sort of, or put something at the bar for people maybe to read in 2 minutes about it and say, and then label, oh, let's try this out. So this could be, so you maybe want to use a flyer or something, and then describe a little bit more what maybe the basic steps to do or what you can do at the party or at the event with those Satoshis. So this is then maybe you have a flyer and you stick those QR codes on. Or maybe you don't meet the people at all, and you just want to spread them in your neighborhood, and then you just make a letter and explain a little bit more. And maybe you say also, oh, there are 2 shops in the area, you can try this out. And you have a little bit more information for people that really want to make a readout and then want to sit there in the morning and, oh yeah, that's interesting. And you put the stickers on that. So, and the good thing is we separated this bit. You just have stickers in the LN bits, and you can create those cards, those flyers, those letters in whatever software you want. Use your doc, use your Word for this, use your Google Docs, whatever fits you best. And you can put it into the language for that works for you and for your target group where you want to spread the vouchers. And again, you just put those little stickers on there. Of course, once you created it, I would always advise to test them so that you know it's working well. There's 2 things. Again, you would test both cases, scan them with mobile wallets to check if maybe the recommended wallet that you mentioned in your letter or on your flyer is really working good with that, and would also kind of test a little bit if the LN bits with us is really opening up this little temp wallet there. If you just scan and open the URL code, so if everything's working fine on your Raspberry Blitz before you do the event or after you have printed it out. At the moment, there is still some little bugs we are fixing there. So you can already print out the vouchers, and it works with Wallet of Satoshi. I know I would like to recommend also other wallets like Zap or so forth, and I have to test it out. Maybe it's also still on our side, but maybe also it's still on the wallet side, because what we use here to have those both ways is using the LNURL fallback scheme. So it's not just this LNURL string that you normally have to just, but it's a HTTPS URL, and then there is the LNURL string somewhere in there. So it could work both ways. So you can scan it with a wallet that just takes the LNURL token and gets ready, or it's just a web browser and it opens up the web page. So this is part of the LNURL spec, and I have the feeling that not everybody who has implemented LNURL withdrawals really supports this, but this is really important part of the LNURL spec. It's really mentioned right at the beginning, the fallback scheme. So this is also now a community effort really to test or to get the LN bits correct. That is by default the correct fallback URL, and on the other side then to test the mobile wallets and maybe to push the one or the other mobile wallet developer out there to, if they haven't or missed this fallback thingy, to put this in. And I can say from a programmer perspective, this is just some lines of code. There's a few lines. It's not that complicated to put in there. So it should possibly be for everybody. So maybe it takes some weeks, maybe some months, so that all the mobile wallets are ready for this. But again, this is early stage here, so it's the right time to do exactly this. The Raspberry Blitz is at the moment out with the 1.6, and it got all the all the IP2Tor stuff in there, the Let's Encrypt stuff. This is all the stuff you can already test out, and also please give feedback on this. Is this running stable for you? Is there something we can improve? The LN bits is already also on the 1.6, but again, on the LN bits, there are some smaller steps we are still now fixing. So you can uninstall it and reinstall it again. Then you get the latest version that we checked for Raspberry Blitz. And that would give you, for example, already this quick voucher button. But we are aiming for, with the next service release, with the Raspberry Blitz 1.61. This is kind of a service release for the Raspberry Blitz, that there should be all the essential bugs worked out so that you really can start to test this in small testing groups. And again, start small, maybe just try it out in your meetups or with your friends or at home just for you, and then just see if this is working. Where stuff still not working, please report back to our Raspberry Blitz GitHub so that we can improve, especially fix the technical bugs. And then of course, and this is really up for everybody, this host experience, like how even the flyer designs, the letters, this is all stuff that we now have to figure out what works best, because this is social communication. And again, I tell you, like as a programmer, social communication, it's not easy to master. So and every community is a little bit different. So this is also nice, even if you're not a programmer, to contribute on those what works best and what experiment with this is very great contribution here to give feedback and exchange with other people, so that we find the sweet spots here, what works best for giving out this Lightning vouchers. I think those should cover, right, this covers the Lightning vouchers. So this is the first part of what you can do. You can give away free Satoshis. The other question is, if people have Satoshis, what can they do with them? So it would be very nice to combine those two things. Even have to warn at the moment, if you run both actions on your Raspberry Blitz, the LN bits cannot pay itself that easily. This is also something we hope that will be possible in the future. So if you give vouchers out and then let people pay here with cash in the bag, this could be it's still a problem. Also good to try it out and see maybe what's to solve there. But that's the goal, to that you can do both from one Raspberry Blitz. At the moment, I would just advise to do one at a time. Second, because the second action you can do, also based on LN bits, is onboarding merchants with a concept we call cash in the bag. It's not maybe the best name, but I think it's at least, you maybe start to get a picture and you remember it. The idea, the cash in the bag, for us, it seems to be a little bit the easiest way to onboard merchants accepting Bitcoin over Lightning at the moment. And really, it's just an onboarding solution. It's not something you should scale up to big amounts or to 100 merchants or whatever. This is really just for your local merchant maybe at your meetup, where you have your meetup to maybe, and they always want to know, I don't like to have it complicated to sell the Bitcoins or whatever, like to give them the easiest kind of entry possible. This is maybe the concept you want to look into, because it takes all the risk away from the merchant. There's nothing that needs to be changed in the merchant's register system or with the bookkeeping, because this is what a lot of merchants are very afraid of when they hear Bitcoin, or what would be hard with the IRS, whatever, like it's all hard. So this tries to keep this simple, and there's no costs and investments for the merchant. Of course, somebody has to take the risk, and that's you. But I will give you an overview what this means, because you kind of take into a little bit the financial risk and the trust risk, and you take over the managing kind of all the background infrastructure for Lightning with liquidity, inbound, good connection to the network. This is what you're doing with your normal node management, and with the LM bits and the cash in the back, you can make it for merchant very easy to utilize your setup kind of to accept Bitcoin and get cash in the end. So this is what we will see. So you can even could do multiple merchants with one Raspberry Blitz, or but to keep this simple now, just talk about one. But in the future, you should be able to have multiple merchants with one Raspberry Blitz. So first way to start is find a small merchant in your area, maybe not a big chain, maybe some really small mom pop shop that you have a good connection to, and you have a good feeling, and maybe you know the person a little bit, or you're a regular customer at least, so that you have at least some trust level there, because we have to decide on your risk level, because what you do is you will upfront fiat cash. You will have a bag, you put some cash in there, and you will give it to this merchant in the beginning. So can you run away? Yes. Can you say I never got your back? Yes. So this is again, so it should be, but it's your local merchant. So there's some, and you can really start low, for example, like with $10 or something. So don't get too crazy in the beginning, just as experimental, and it's just about onboarding to have this for small amounts. So it should be possible to make the risk of $10 here. Beside your Raspberry Blitz and that cash, you need a bag, but that's quite a cheap. You put the cash in there, and the bag should fit at best in the register of the merchant. And you would need a paper card that we call the cashier's instructions, with a QR code on there, but this is also something you can print out with LMBit, so we'll show you in a minute. And this is all you need. So if you're willing to risk a little bit cash here, or have a little bit financial risk, and you have a Raspberry Blitz running, this is something for you, and you can invest into a bag. This is something to try out. So first, let's get started. Let's build this up. So what we need is this cashier's card, right? So this cashier's guide card. You can print it out yourself. We have at the moment there one PDF you can find it on the GitHub in the directory home.admin assets, and there's the cashier guide PDF, and it has a front and the back, and you print it out, of course, so a little sticker paper, so that of course it has a front and a back printing. And then you can take this, you cut it out and you put it into the bag. We have to say this is a contribution already to this concept. But of course, if this is not fitting your case, maybe because of language or whatever, you're absolutely free to build your own kind of card and invite it, of course, then to share. Always keep in mind it needs to fit into the bag, and the bag should fit into a register. And normally in the register, it's about the size of a bill, so of a cash bill or something. So keep in that kind of size area. But then you have printed this out, and we will go through this step by step, the process later. But now you have your card printed out. Next step. You go to the LM bits, and again, make sure that you call the LM bits over the IP tutor Let's Encrypt address, so that you're really creating the correct links here. Then you will enter a wallet here. You can call it like merchant wallet. Then you press add new wallet. And again, think about bookmarking this one for you, so that you can find it back again, or call it back again easily later on. Then again, in this wallet that is created, go to Manage Extensions, and this time we will need the TPOS extension, and there click on Enable. Enable will turn into Open, and you click Open, and then the TPOS extension or plugin will open. So when you're here on the TPOS plugin, you just click the button New TPOS. Here this form comes up and you give it a name like Merchant 1 or maybe even the name of the store. Just put it in there. Then you select the wallet where the funds should go to if somebody pays at the store. This is the wallet that we just created here. You don't need to fund it first because this is now about receiving, not about sending or giving out funds. So you just pick it here and pick the merchant wallet we created in the step before. Then you choose your currency. So there's at the moment a list of a lot of currency with conversion rates. Just pick one that fits for you here, and in my area it's euro. Okay, so create this TPOS now. Then again, in the TPOS plugin, I can see now a new entry over here. This is the TPOS I created, and there's this little button over here. And if I click this one, a new tab comes open, and this temporary wallet opens. So you can already try it out if this is working here. Basically, this is just like simple down like a calculator. You punch in the number, how much do you want to receive? And you say, okay, you get an invoice, you pay this invoice, and this should then work. Again, self-payments are not that easy, so you should try this payment. If you pay this, your TPOS, you should try it from some external wallet to get the experience. Okay, this is just testing. What we really need here is the URL that is now here to see. This is the web URL, and this is publicly available, so everybody else there can call it. We need to this whole URL. We copy that, and the next step will still be a little bit messy, but stick with us. We also hope in the future to ease out the steps. There's a lot of errors here, I know. And we need to use a search service here. That's also not optimal. This is also something to optimize in the future. But just to show you, to get the prototype ready, to show you that how the prototype works, and so we can experiment with it, I will go through with you here step by step. So what we use is the QR code generator.com. At least that's one I can say this is easy possibly here. So you call this website, and then first of all you say I have a URL over here. Then you paste the URL we copied from our TPOS into this form over here. Then we click save over here. This will then store this QR code image. We have to give it a name and say with PNG, for example, and we save it. Now we have this saved image on our desktop. That's good. Last step, what we should do is we use this function over here, shorten URL. And this will just make this long link, the long URL we put there, make a short one, and you will just kind of write this down quickly. And we call this is the generated short link. I know this is based now on a third party, but it's more like a fallback now to test the prototype in the store. This can be maybe substituted later with something that runs even on your Raspberry Blitz. We have to see. Okay, so the next step is we have now stored this QR code, right, as a file. So we take out the card we printed out before. We print out the QR code image. So in that size that it will fit in this white box over here. So you maybe have to experiment with like 55% or 75% or something. You print it out until it's in the right size. Then you cut it out and you stick it on this white box so that the QR code is now on the back of the card. And there's another room over here, and this is where you just write into the short link. The idea is that as I told you, my Samsung S9 can very easily, with a standard camera app, open this link in the QR code, but maybe all the phones don't have it, and maybe people don't have a QR code scanner installed. So just for fallback to open this TPOS on a smartphone, we need a short link that somebody can easily type in and just put it here as a fallback, the generated short link we did with the QR code generator over there. So then you have your card ready, and you put this card back into the bag. So, and now you have your setup ready. I know. Sorry, this QR code thing was a little bit maybe a bit confusing, and again, we will hope to smooth that out. But that's the basic setup. You have your bag, you have your cash in there. You put the card into the bag. Now you go into the local store, talk to your merchant. We want to accept Bitcoin. They have the bag, and they have put the bag somewhere in their cashier in their register, just lying there. And best would be maybe to put a sticker up front on the, so that people maybe know that you can pay with Bitcoin with over Lightning there. So you're now kind of ready. Let's see how it works, right? We want to now see how is the customer experience, how is it really working in everyday life, now paying in the store with this setup we gave them. So customer walks into a store and wants to buy something for €2. I don't know, something small. So at least for €2. Again, this needs to be below the cash that you upfronted in. So keep that in mind. So for €2. So customers saw the sticker sign on the store like they accept Bitcoin over Lightning. So we asked if you can pay with Bitcoin over Lightning. The cashier is maybe not the owner of the store, maybe somebody just helping out there, but he may be recognized already that there's something in the register. And I have it here, for example, I have the cash on the back and I put a Bitcoin sticker on there. So at least even if the owner was not telling the clerk or the cashier that there is this option, maybe there's something, okay, yeah, there was something with a bag. Okay, I get it. So he takes out this bag now from the register, takes out the cashier's guide card and just follows the steps that are written on there. Scan the QR code on the back and enter the amount to be paid. So, okay. Next step, you turn the card, you scan the QR code. Here again, it's maybe the fallback if the scanning is not working. But what we have now is the cashier has a smartphone entered or opened this TPOS, so this website that is now served from our Raspberry Blitz, and just enters here the amount, like, okay, 200, okay. And you see when you enter the amount, you see the conversion into Satoshis. So if you press OK now, so an invoice is generated in the TPOS. This the cashier shows this to the customer. The customer has his Lightning mobile wallet, now pays this, and once this is paid, this form closes, and you see a small. This could be bigger, but you see at the moment you see the small Satoshis received confirmation here. So this is okay. So the cashier is looking back at the card for the last step, and the last step is now, because the customer paid in Bitcoin, that the cashier takes the money out of the bag and takes a kind of, tries to get the fitting amount out of there and puts the change back and puts the amount, the €2 we're talking about, now into the official register. The rest, the change, keeps all in the bag, but these €2 are now in the register. So, and the cashier now just turns it normally in, like we would put in the register, whatever he does, like on a normal cash transactions, gives a receipt, whatever, and gives the item to the customer, and this is done. So there's something new in here, of course, but you can see it's a very easy kind of way to onboard people for small payments. It's done. Now this customer paid with Bitcoin in the store. So at least this is, I think, from our perspective, one very, very easy way to start it. Some notes here. Of course, it's an agreement with the merchant that all the cash in the bag still belongs to you. So this is you upfront the cash for the bag, but in the end, you could, like, every time walk into the store and say, "Come on, let's my Raspberry Blitz is kind of not online anymore. Whatever, this is not working. Give me, I take this back." So this is an agreement with the merchant based on trust. So keep that in mind. On the LNbits wallet, you created, you can see the incoming transactions. So every time everybody pays at the store, you can see, because it's paid to your Raspberry Blitz and into that LNbits account, you can see if you on the listing of transactions, you can see TPOS paid that amount of Satoshis. So the good thing is, like, every Satoshis that's coming to your Raspberry Blitz is your Satoshis, because you reimbursed the merchant with that he was able to take out the cash out of the bag, put it in his register. So all Satoshis now are yours. So you're, in the end, you bought, and this is still a question, the Satoshis or the Bitcoin from the merchant right at the second where the stuff is happening, or you bought it directly from the from the customer, that's not exactly clear, but at least this was instant in that transaction. So the merchant never has to touch his Bitcoin in his bookkeeping for that kind of reason, and everything stays the same. You may need from time to time, of course, go into the store and refill it. So if you have just 10 euros there and now I paid with 2 euros, the next customer can just pay at the maximum with 8 euros in that store. So this is also something to keep in mind, and also maybe something to be integrated better into the TPOS plugin or in the Elements plugin, that it even maybe not allows you to pay more. This is something where it maybe still can end up in a confusion. So it would be great if the TPOS would even just allow payments that are equal with the what still cash is in the bag. The Raspberry Blitz 1.61 will have hopefully everything then ready for you to try this out on a small scale and kind of early testing. Even it should work with the 1.6 because there's basically with the IP tutorial you have this already. This should something for you, even that something you can try out. And again, help us here. You're very, very much invited here to help us out, to test this out. It's a very new concept, improve the process, especially on the social communication side, how to talk with a merchant, maybe to have customized cards, exchange those kind of cards, whatever you maybe want to put into the store, to signal people that you can pay with Lightning here. So there's a lot of stuff around the technical concept that is very much appreciated if people contribute here. But of course, if you can code and you can code some Python and some JavaScript, you're very, very much welcome to help out on improving the kind of LMBits side, because the LMBits is kind of working with is programmed in Python, and of course there's some JavaScript because there are some web front and stuff happening. So if you like to smooth out and optimize those plugins, I even made with Ben from LMBits, I made a video how to get started with LMBits plugin development and maybe to change an existing plugin or maybe connect different plugins together. This could be a good starting point. If you're interested in that, I'm happy to point you into the right direction. And again, if you have any kind of ideas how to improve this or give feedback on it on first testing, go to our GitHub issues and let us know. And again, if you're very, very techy and like to tinker, then you're already invited to go with the 1.6. If you like to have it the most technical stuff worked out, maybe wait still to the 1.61 that should come out in the kind of next weeks, where we then hopefully have all those little last things kind of ironed out for you, and then you can start small scale trying it out more on the social and concept in your local community. Okay, so I think this is all, folks. So any questions here in the room or on social or something about this? I think we will make the slides available. So I think I will put about this Raspberry Blitz for communities, so the vouchers and the cash in the bag. I will put a link in the on the website raspberryblitz.org. Should be up in kind of next day. So if you want to go through the slides again, even on the other kind of topics, maybe it should be then there for you to also to check. But also these videos will be published, so this is also something to check out. Okay, so
something came to my mind just to mention that basically regarding IP2Tor, we had this duck DNS service used for the certificate and also what people use. If you're not happy with that, we can integrate other dynamic DNS providers. If you want to help us, we're happy to take any contributions. But keep in mind, you can also use your own domain. If you already have a domain, you can also use this domain. That's not too hard to set up, just so that you're aware, because this is of course public facing, and just keep in mind, it doesn't have to be just duck DNS. If you have your own domain, we work too with IP2Tor and Let's Encrypt.
Yeah, that's right. But just to keep in mind, just to have some custom domain is still a little bit works, and maybe not. So maybe it breaks the process setups here and there a bit, and you have to really do a lot of this, manual work. Integrating really Addendum as other kind of providers that also support this Acme script with DNS validation, that would be perfect. So we have a little bit more maybe to choose for you to on that kind of side.
All awesome. Right. So you guys, thank you so much for coming on and sharing. If you want to stop the screen share, that'd be great. Why don't we close out with each of you kind of letting the audience know where they can find you. Obviously, you've already explained a lot of different ways that they can work with and interact with Raspberry Blitz. So yeah, where can people find you, Ritzel? Then we can go to Open Arms and then finally Frankie. And then want to remind everyone else before we close out, make sure to subscribe to Bitcoin Magazine YouTube. Make sure to pound that like button and share this great stuff. We're going to be cutting up each section and making it available in the next 2 days. And then like, you know, Ritzel already said the slides are going to be made available as well. So thanks for everyone who watched. Hope this was super helpful and useful. And yeah, I'll hand it off to you, Ritzel.
All right, thanks. Yeah, best is to reach me, I think, on Twitter. So it's a root, it's all like you can see on the screen. So that's an easy way to follow there, even if you want to keep up on latest developments on the Raspberry for community concepts and in Raspberry in general. This is, I think, good to follow. So Twitter is the best kind of way, and then GitHub, of course. Open Arms.
Yeah, right. Well, I've already told on my nickname, you can find me on Twitter, Telegram, and Keybase/OMS. And most of the things are linked there as well. So, you know, happy to speak about anything really.
Yeah, I'm Frankie on GitHub and also on Twitter. If you want to donate, there's now a barcode there. You can donate 42 satoshis for my Raspberry Blitz. Yeah, mainly I'm on GitHub, Frankie.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for all the time and staying up super late. I know it's a different part of the world for you guys than us here in North America, so much appreciated. Yeah, well, with that, we'll just close it out. Thanks again.